Welcome, everyone. My name is Jason Mathias, and with me today is Kelly Rixine. We work for the state of North Dakota, and we are information technology specialists in EduTech, which is the Educational Services Division within North Dakota Information Technology. NDIT is doing whatever possible to ensure that the entities we support are able to function in a wide variety of situations. For K-12 schools, we know our North Dakota administrators and educational personnel are carefully navigating how to proceed with classes, communication, and collaboration while addressing concerns around COVID-19. EduTech's mission remains to provide technology services and leadership to improve teaching and learning in North Dakota PK through 12. We are continuing that mission by providing this webinar series and are here to support our ND K through 12 community with support, training, and resources. This webinar today is available for one EduTech hour that you can eventually turn into a graduate credit. Once you've accumulated 15 EduTech hours, you can turn that into one graduate credit from NDSU. We want to make sure that everybody that's attending here is able to get that one EduTech hour. So if you have not registered for this webinar, please do so. Or you can put your name and your email address into the comments section, and we'll make sure to add you to this webinar. If you're watching this online at a later date, the registration will no longer be available for you. All right, but let's get started. So today we're going to talk about MakeCode. We're going to explore the MakeCode website and show some of the resources that are available there. We'll give a quick demo of MakeCode, and then we'll start to show you some ways that you can incorporate MakeCode into your classroom. The one nice thing about MakeCode is that it is web-based. So the only thing that you need to have to access MakeCode is a web browser. So I'm going to open a web browser. Any modern browser should work. I'm using Chrome, but any modern web browser should be able to get you access. And then the other nice part about this is you just need a web browser. So it doesn't matter what type of physical device that you have, whether it's a PC, a Mac, a Chromebook. And there are even a couple of mobile options to get access to this. But I'm just simply going to go to makecode.org. If you type in makecode.com, it will actually redirect you back to here as well. So this is the MakeCode site. On the main homepage for MakeCode, they do give you the list of all of the different devices that you can program using MakeCode. The first in the top left is the MicroBit. We'll actually demo a little bit inside of the MicroBit, the circuit playground from Adafruit. We'll also give you a short demo on how you can use MakeCode inside of the Minecraft Education Edition. MakeCode also works with the Lego Mindstorms EV3s, the Q, which is a robot that you can program with MakeCode. Arcade allows you to create some games using MakeCode. And it will actually also show you a bunch of different devices that you can use to actually play those games once you've written the code. And then it also works for the Chibi chip, which is really kind of a circuit building device that's really useful for creating like elaborate art projects and things like that. If we go back to the top of the MakeCode website, there are 3 tabs at the top that we'll talk about very briefly. The first is the About tab. So this just gives you a little bit more info about what MakeCode actually is. It's a block-based style of code, but that's not all that it can do. It actually can toggle back and forth between the block style coding and JavaScript. So if you're interested in learning JavaScript, or if you have students that are interested, it's easy to toggle back and forth. And Python is also coming to MakeCode. When Kelly shows MakeCode inside of Minecraft, Python is an option, so you can code using Python. And then at the end of today, I'll actually show you the MakeCode beta version, which was officially unveiled yesterday, where you can actually use Python as well. But the other nice part about MakeCode is it does have a simulator for most of the devices, so you can write your code and see what that code will do without actually having to have a physical device to use it on. All right, so this shows you a simulator for the circuit playground. We'll look at the simulator for the MicroBit a little bit later on today. If you scroll down the About page, there are a couple of videos if you want to see how some schools are using MakeCode in their classrooms. And then the MakeCode website, just about everywhere you go, is full of different project ideas that you can use. Here they give you a couple of examples: air guitar and rock, paper, scissors that use the MicroBit. The magic wand and light monster use the circuit playground. But you're going to be able to find access to those programs just about anywhere that you go inside of MakeCode. The next section, or the next tab at the top, is the Get Started tab. This gives you a little bit more info on the different devices that you can use MakeCode with. So for each device, the MicroBit, the Circuit Playground, Minecraft, again, this is the arcade, the Minecraft is the Education Edition. the arcade, the Lego Mindstorms EV3, the keyword, the Chibi chip. When you click on any of these devices, it will give you a little info about what that device is, and then it will link you to and then we'll talk about how you can code it. In this case here for the MicroBit, which is what we're going to demo today, you can actually code this in the online version of MakeCode. There is a Windows 10 desktop app that you can use to code the MicroBit using MakeCode. And there's actually an Android or an iOS app from MicroBit itself that allows you to code a MicroBit using MakeCode on a mobile device. And then each of those devices will also link you to more project ideas and some extra things that you can do with your devices. And then again, this bottom section links you back to all of these different tabs that are up at the top. The last tab that we'll look at is the Resources tab. So again, here it links you to more resources that are available to help you get started. There are a few different courses. First course is Intro to CS with the MicroBit. And this is like a full curriculum that's put together that you have access to that will walk you through how you can use the MicroBit in your classroom. And it will tie into projects that you can use for your classes. Intro to CS with Minecraft will focus specifically on the Minecraft Education Edition and how you can bring in MakeCode to play Minecraft. And then there's also a Circuit Playground course that they have built. And you can access those here from the Resources tab. I'll show you a couple of other ways that you can get access to these same courses. The next section, the latest on MakeCode, the blog has lots of information on like things that are coming in the future with MakeCode. Microsoft Research. One nice thing about MakeCode is it is open source. So if you go to the research page, you can actually find some topics that you can help with, like programming or helping create different languages that you can use for MakeCode, things like that. And then community resources towards the bottom. Microsoft Digital Skills really just provides some information on the benefits of developing some of these digital skills in your students. The Microsoft Imagine Academy. These are courses that you can take that are from Microsoft. Most of them do have a cost that go along with it, but it's another option to help you get started as a teacher. Not necessarily, your students can do it as well, but this is geared a little bit more towards you as the teacher. And then the TEALS program, which is available in North Dakota. There's only a few states around the country that have access to the TEALS program. In North Dakota, we're lucky enough to have it. But the TEALS program actually brings volunteer teachers that are industry experts into your classroom to help teach computer science skills, right? But those are the three tabs at the top of our MakeCode screen. I'm going to go back to the MakeCode homepage. They do have an additional section that's on here right now to support some of the distance learning that's taking place right now. So I'm going to click on Learn More in this red box at the top of the screen. And these are going to be just a few other resources that we have access to inside of MakeCode. The first is the live streaming. They actually have 3 streaming sessions scheduled throughout the day. There's a morning session that works specifically with the MicroBit. There's another session in the morning that focuses on using MakeCode inside of the Minecraft Education Edition. And then another session that looks at the arcade and kind of helps people get started using MakeCode for the arcade version where you can create some of those simple games. And then they also have a daily special topic that you can look at. And you'll notice yesterday was actually the 2020 beta release of MakeCode that includes Python. And we'll kind of take a peek at what that looks like yesterday. But that was officially unveiled yesterday afternoon. Those live videos are hosted on something that's called Mixer. So if you click go to Mixer, it's going to take you to those live videos. But they've also accumulated large video playlists to help you get started. So each one of these videos here will actually link you to a YouTube channel that is full of videos on that specific topic, including, beginner MicroBit or beginner Minecraft, all the way down to some advanced techniques using the arcade. Most of these playlists have lots of videos, like 10 to 20. There's a couple that are a little bit smaller, like Digital All-Stars only has a couple of different videos that are posted to it. But again, these are great ways for you to get started using MakeCode if you're not very familiar with it. Another section here is the online tutorials and projects. Each of the devices that you can code using MakeCode has tutorials that go along with them. This section will actually take you to some videos that will walk you through the tutorials. When you do the tutorial inside of like the MicroBit MakeCode, it will show you the steps and you physically walk through it. But here you can come and you can watch the lessons. So you can watch somebody guide you through the different tutorials. Name tag is the tutorial that we'll actually walk through for the MicroBit today. But they have a couple of videos here for the MicroBit, 3 videos that are available for the arcade, and then 3 videos that are for Minecraft Education Edition. And Kelly will demo Chicken Rain for you a little bit later today. But again, some great places that you can go to get some resources. And then further down the list, they do have some online curriculum where they have some lessons that are already built and ready to go for you to use. You just have to take them and apply them to your students. And then we'll also look today at ways that you can incorporate this into something like Microsoft Teams. So if you want to have MakeCode, but you want to have it in a little more structured way where you can give a project as an assignment for students, we'll show you how you can do that inside of Teams. And then MicroBit has also released a beta of a classroom version that I'll kind of walk you through so you can actually physically see what your students are doing in real time, even though you're not in the same area. They're at their house, you're at your house. You can still kind of interact with each other that way, and you can see what your students are working on. So we'll demo a couple of those towards the end of our session today. All right, but now I'm going to go back to the MakeCode homepage again. And I'm going to click on the MicroBit, and we're going to take a look specifically at the MicroBit. MakeCode really works the same way regardless what platform you're using. It might look slightly different because it's going to have some pre-built-in commands that are specific to that device, but it's going to be very similar. So we're going to look at the MicroBit. Once you get into MakeCode for your specific device, this page will look basically the same, right? So the top is always going to be my projects. These are the projects that I have done recently. These are the code that I have written. And I can scroll over and I can get access to more projects, or I can see all my projects. One thing to point out that if you're using the web version of MakeCode, these are actually stored in your browser history. So if I would switch to a different browser, or if I would use a different browser on a different computer, I'm not going to have access to my projects, right? They're not officially tied to me. They're tied to this browser and this computer. If something would happen and I would have to clear the browser history and cache, I would lose access to all of these projects. If you're using the Windows 10 desktop app of MakeCode, you'll still have access to all of these projects. But the nice thing is these would actually be tied specifically into that app, so that they wouldn't be specifically tied to a browser history and cache. The next section, tutorials, again, these are going to walk you through exactly how to write the code for each of these projects. They only give you the blocks that are necessary to complete that. We're going to walk through the name tag here very shortly, just to kind of give you an idea of what the tutorials are. The next section, live coding, is going to take you back to that Mixer page that I just showed you, where you can watch the live coding events that Microsoft has coming. And then it will also link you to other videos. So inside of here, this is actually the MicroBit playlist. These are all the videos that are available in the YouTube channel that deal specifically with the MicroBit. If you scroll all the way to the end of the list, you can actually get access to the full playlist. But you can see most of these videos are around 35 to 40 minutes. So they do a good job of walking you through exactly how to build some of these different projects and write the code inside of MicroBit, or MakeCode for MicroBit. There are some other games that you can code inside of here. Now, if you open a game, these aren't really like the tutorials. They might tell you what the code looks like, but then it's still on your own to go into MakeCode and actually write all of the code. If it's a game like the reaction timer that requires an external build, and then you attach your MicroBit to something else, it will walk you through how to build that project. But those are some games that you can code. Radio games, the one thing with the MicroBit is it does have Bluetooth with it, so we can actually have the MicroBit talk to other MicroBits. So radio games, these are all projects where you could have multiple MicroBits communicating with each other. There are some fashion projects that you can do with the MicroBit. The music section, you can make your MicroBit play music. There isn't a speaker on the MicroBit. You can attach your headphones to the MicroBit. So Hack Your Headphones would actually show you how to do that, and then you can program your MicroBit to play some music. And then these are other projects, mostly that are provided by external users. These are people that have created things using the MicroBit and MakeCode and have shared those projects with you. So if you click on them, you might just see some images of how to complete the builds. Some of them do have videos that go along with it and show you how to write the code. But again, just another kind of project section. And then there's a science section. There's a lot of science stuff that you can do with the MicroBit specifically. There are all sorts of different sensors on the MicroBit where you can collect data. And I'll show you another area where you can access more content involving these science projects a little bit later on. You can use the MicroBit to create some other tools, including a compass or a light level meter. They do have some sections that will help you get started if you want to transition from block-based coding into text-based coding with JavaScript. These are some individual lessons that will help you get started and how you can make that transition. The courses I'll come back and talk about in a second. But behind the MakeCode hardware for each of the devices, it will actually give you some information about the device itself. So the first video here is on LEDs. This is only a few minutes long, but it will actually walk you through what an LED is and how it works. And then we'll go into the specifics about how it works on the MicroBit. There are more science experiments that you can conduct here. And again, these are in a science course that I'll show you in just a second. But there's a lot of different ways that you can use the MicroBit. And then the last section are coding cards. These are different projects that you can create using the MicroBit. So if I click on one, it's going to give me this information card that's going to talk about the project. It's going to show me some of the code that I need to use, tell me how I can tie it in this case, into math or science. This actually makes a scale using the MicroBit. And then they'll all also link you to a video so you can watch the physical build of the scale and then how to develop the code. So just kind of another way to get started. But again, back to the courses section, there are a few different courses that they have available. You can click on one of these courses and it's going to take you to that specific course, or you can simply come up here in your web address bar and you can go to the website makecode.microbit.org/courses. And it's going to take you to all of the courses that they have available. Again, everything's going to be listed here in the main section, but you can also get access to these courses and other resources in the purple bar on the left side of the screen. So if you want to get more involved in science experiments, for example, you can click on the science experiments course, and it's going to redirect you to a website that's going to give you access to some pre-built lessons that they have made. But then you can scroll through all the different science projects that you can complete using the MicroBit. Most of those will have a video that will explain the project, how you can create whatever build that goes along with the MicroBit, and then how to write the code for the MicroBit. Right? So there's lots of different ways that you can incorporate that specifically into a science class. Right? But again, all you have to do is go to makecode.microbit.org/courses. And then you're going to get access to all those extra resources that are available for whatever device that you are trying to code. All right, so I'm going to go back to my MicroBit MakeCode page. Now we're going to dive into MakeCode a little bit. We're going to start with the tutorial. This is the easiest way to get involved in coding initially. So we're going to do the name tag tutorial. So once I click on the tutorial, it's going to tell me what the project is. This is going to scroll my name on the screen. I'll click on Start Tutorial, and it's going to take me into MakeCode. It will give me an idea of what the finished product will look like using the simulator. I'm going to click OK. And now I'm inside of MakeCode. Right? So if you're in the tutorial, you can always click on the MicroBit icon in the top left corner of the screen, and that's going to be able to toggle your hints on. It will show you exactly what you need to do. It will give you the directions of how to complete the build. And then my workspace here will actually complete the code. The one nice thing about the tutorials is that they only give you the blocks that are necessary to complete the build. One thing with MakeCode, inside of the block style coding, everything is color coded. So up here when it says the show string block, it's this blue color. That means we're going to find it in the category basic. That's that same blue color, right? So it's easy to navigate between the different categories. So in this case, the directions, I need to place the show string block into the forever block to repeat it. So those are under that same blue category, which is basic. So I'll click on basic. I'll find the show string block and I'll drag it out to my work area. I need to place it into the forever block. In the block style coding, these click in kind of like Legos. So once I drop the show string block into my forever block, you'll notice that the simulator actually turns on and it starts to scroll whatever is written inside of that show string block. So according to the directions, now I need to change that to my name. I just simply type in my name into that hello box, and then you'll see my simulator automatically switches and it starts running my most current code. When I'm ready to move on to my next step, I just click on the next arrow in the top right hand corner of the screen. My next direction tells me to look at the simulator to make sure that this looks correct. It does, so I'm going to click next again. Now I need to place more show string blocks to create my own story, so I can add more show string blocks into this. I can add another block where I have my last name. I can add another block to tell me good morning. And then as soon as I'm done, again, my simulator will reload, and it's going to start running my most current code so I can see what this is going to look like. All right, now that I have my story created, I can click Next again. Now it's going to walk you through the steps of how you would actually put this onto a microbit. You would click Download, and now it's going to download this project to my computer, and then you'll always get a pop-up menu that will tell you how you can actually get that physical code onto the microbit. I'm on a Windows computer, so I would open up my Windows Explorer, and I can see in my Downloads folder, I have that program, that code that I just wrote. On the left side of my screen, I would see the microbit that I have plugged into my computer, and I would just simply drag and drop that code. It's going to download, and now add it to my physical microbit. When I'm done with that, I've downloaded this to my microbit. I can click on Finish to end my project. And the nice part about when I click Finish inside of that tutorial, now it sends me to the full MakeCode. You'll notice that my screen has changed a little bit. I now have this larger section of categories on the left side of the screen so I can add to this. I still have that download button so I can add this code directly to my microbit by downloading it to my computer. I have a name section. This started from a tutorial, so it gives it the name of name tag. But if you start a new project, this is always going to be untitled. One kind of good method for how to get started in a project is always name it first. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a whole bunch of projects that are called untitled. And then it's a little bit tricky to figure out which project that you have under which untitled version. But some other examples, some of the things that we can do inside of MakeCode in that basic category. Now you can see I have more options of blocks in here. I can turn on individual LEDs. I can bring out specific icons and show those. I have a pause block. So in this case, I'm going to add the pause block. So now it's going to put my microbit's going to scroll through my first name, last name. It's going to say good morning, and then it's going to show that heart icon. If I want that to stay on the screen longer, I can pause it. I can click on the little drop-down menu inside of coding. This talks in milliseconds. So this is going to be 100 milliseconds or a tenth of a second, all the way to 1,000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. Right, so I can set how long some of these things will stay on my screen or how long it's going to break in between things that show up on my screen. I have other inputs. Most of the devices have some form of input. In the microbit, we have an A button and a B button. We can also shake it and tilt it and do all kinds of different things with that. So we can bring out different ways to get input. We can bring in different sensors. So we can have the temperature sensor give us input. So it's actually going to read the temperature in a room, and it can show us that as well. We can add music to the microbit. You know, if I take out a play tone middle C and add this into my code, after it shows my heart for a second, then it's going to play a tone. If I click on middle C, it's actually going to bring up a keyboard so I can create music inside of MakeCode. And again, for the microbit, there isn't a speaker that's attached to it. When it gets to this part in the simulator, the physical computer would actually play the sound. But you'll notice my simulator also changed. As soon as I brought out that music block, now it showed me how I can actually hook up my headphones to my microbit, so I can have my microbit actually play the tone through headphones. There's an LED category where I can turn on specific LEDs. The microbit has 25 in a 5x5 grid, so I can turn on specific LEDs. I could use the Bluetooth feature and make the microbits talk to each other. I can create loops, so I can cause code to repeat a certain number of times. I can set up some logic conditions. I can create variables, which essentially makes my own blocks. I can have the microbit do math inside of MakeCode. There are some advanced functions as well where I can write functions or arrays. Another way that I can bring in some text, I can actually control some games using the microbit. I can do more with the LEDs and create larger images. On the microbit, there are breakout pins. The bottom of the microbit, I can actually attach some accessories to those pins, and I can control what those pins are doing. There are some serial controls. There are a few more control options. And then there are also extensions that I can add into MakeCode. So I could add some more Bluetooth blocks. I can do some more radio broadcasting. I can bring in blocks that are specific to running servos. There are a few specific kits that I can bring in different blocks of code for. There's lots of different options with MakeCode. Again, this is specific to the MicroBit, but any of the devices that you use in MakeCode will be very similar. The last thing that I want to show you inside of here is we do have the share option. So if you want to have your students write code and then share it with you, they can click on share and then publish the project. So I'm going to leave this as my name tag. I'll publish the project, and then it's actually going to give me a URL. So my students would just need to share this URL with me, and then I can click on that, and it's actually going to take me to their code so I can see what they wrote and then how it reacts with the simulator. I won't be able to change it, but it's a way for me to look to see what my students have done. And I can actually also embed this into another website. So if I have a project that I created that I wanted to embed, I can get embed codes for the actual code itself, and embed code for the editors, so I can add MakeCode to my own website, or I can embed the simulator to show what's happening with the code. Right, but those are a few ways that you can share the projects. And then I'll go through a couple of other ways that you can do that using Microsoft Teams or the MicroBit Classroom a little bit later on. But that's our quick look at MakeCode with the MicroBit. Right now, I'll actually turn it over to Kelly, and he's going to talk a little bit about using MakeCode inside of the Minecraft Education Edition. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Kelly, on to you.
All right. So good morning. Yeah, when you go to MakeCode, you'll notice that you'll get a Minecraft little tab there. So if you click on that, same kind of thing that Jason just kind of talked about, it'll give you some tutorials. This is new Python coding. They just they have this in beta right now, but more and more is getting developed with that, so which is great. But you'll notice a bunch of different tutorials that you're welcome to click into and get into started. So when you click on the new project, you can give your project a name if you want to start brand new, or you can go to one of the tutorials. I'm going to do the chicken rain one. So we can click on that. It'll give you options to do to code and program within block coding, Python, and JavaScript. And even if you start one, you can switch if you want to, say you start one in block, but then you wanted to switch to Python, you can do that. So we're going to go ahead and start the tutorial. So this is just within MakeCode right now. I'm going to show you how to transfer this into Minecraft or do this within Minecraft itself. That seems a little simpler, but so that's kind of what we're going to do. Again, what just Jason said, or some of those tutorials, it's only going to give you the blocks that you need and show you exactly what you need to do within this. But go ahead and say I won't take too long on this, but say I develop what I'm doing here, I hit play, and it's going to say I need the app, the Minecraft app to run this, because there is no simulator like the MicroBit what Jason was showing. So I actually have to open up Minecraft. So say I did this, I can always download that or hit play and then get into the Minecraft app. So I'm going to jump into there right away and show you a little bit about how MakeCode can actually be, it's just within Minecraft itself. So I'm going to use my K-12 account. I'm going to hit play. Here are all my worlds. If it's libraries, here are how you can join other people's worlds. Steve DeZiel did a webinar about Minecraft and did a pretty good job. That's on our YouTube channel, so you're welcome to check that out. But I'm going to hit new, create a new world. My world, give it a title. I'm going to hit creative, and then a couple different settings too that I always like to put on to show coordinates, and then always the code builder will need to be on if you want to do any type of coding within this too. So if you want to turn that off or on, but for this demonstration, we're going to put this on, and then I hit play. So once this generates my world, it's going to pop me somewhere, and then there you go. So I'm in this world right now. I have different options on the left-hand side to see how I can manipulate the world within Minecraft. But the one thing that within coding we want to do is we just want to hit the C here on the bottom left, you can see Code Builder. If I touch C on my keyboard, it's going to open up Code Builder on the left or on the right hand side here. And notice that I have the exact kind of same thing within Minecraft. It's just brought right into the Minecraft world. So I hit Chicken Rain, I went blocks, same kind of thing. It tells me exactly what to do. It's just right within that, so it's a little easier. So it says on chat command, so I'm going to hit run. I'm going to next, and then I'm going to place out spawn. There we go. And it's going to spawn this animal, so you can click on whichever. So this one's Chicken Rain, so we're going to leave it at chicken. These are the positions that the chickens will spawn in. So I'm going to hit next. So I'm going to rename it to chicken, and I give it a 10 blocks above me. So I'm going to say chicken, and then this one will actually spawn those chickens 10 blocks above where I'm at right now. And it says now I can go to Minecraft, press T to open the chat, and enter chicken. You should see a flying chicken. So if I hit play, and now if I hit, I'm going to look up quick so you guys can see. But if I hit T, that'll open the chat. Remember my code, I typed in chicken. And if I hit enter, you should see there comes a chicken down on me. There we go. I guess I can move out to where you can see it a little bit better. But so there's my chicken. So I go back and say, well, I want 100 chickens. So I go back to hit C, and I can go into loops and say I want to repeat this for 4 chickens or whatever 50 times. So now I'm going to get 50 chickens. I'm going to go back and hit T and type in chicken, enter, and now you'll see that there's 50 chickens coming down into my world. So yeah, the easy way to code and do that. You'll also know that I'm going to go up here. You see my little agent here. I see Kelly R.agent. He'll help me build things too. So right, we did Chicken Rain, but you can also do, if I go back to this. Okay, if I go back to this, you'll notice that there's some tutorials and things that the agent can build. So if your students start building these large houses, it takes them, forever to place these blocks and build these blocks. Well, my agent can get it done in like seconds. So say I have something built, I want a wall built, I want to use this and for a certain amount of spot. Oh, I forgot wall. So if I say I want to build this wall, but see my agent up there, I want to build a wall there, I hit T, I type in the word wall, I hit enter, and he gets going building this wall. It's kind of hard to see there, but he gets going building this wall. So he works for me. So exactly what code is meant to do. It saves us time and something that we don't have to do. But if we understand what the code means, it's easy to see that. So there's another, that's an easy way. If I just hit C, all that code builder is right within Minecraft itself. So you can note that you, so now I use blocks here, but on the top here, you'll see JavaScript, how it's written in JavaScript. And then also if I drop down, you'll see the Python coding too, that's how the blocks are written within Python. You can add in, so if you did some of these projects, you can go ahead and save them, or if you wanted to add some of them, save them to publish them, and add them to wherever you want, you can go ahead and get that same URL, kind of like what Jason was saying with the MicroBit. So, all right, I think if there's any other questions, you're welcome to contact me. But as of right now, Minecraft for Education Edition is free up to a certain point during the summer, and depending on your Microsoft license, your school Microsoft license, you would have this available to your students also. But Minecraft MakeCode is free for always, but Minecraft Education Edition might come with some different aspects that you might need to turn on and off. So, all right. I'll give it back over to Jason if he wants to take it.
Yeah, I'll take back over. Hopefully you guys can see my screen right now. Before I show you some of the classroom options, I do want to show you the MakeCode beta version. Kelly showed a little bit inside of Minecraft, going back and forth between the block code, JavaScript, and Python. Python is available in the beta version. Right now, I'm just in the regular MakeCode. If I go back to my name tag project, you can see I can toggle back and forth between the blocks and JavaScript. But if I want to start to use Python, I'm going to go back to home, and then up in my web address bar, I'm just simply going to go to makecode.microbit.org/beta. So all I have to do is add the word beta to the end of this, and it's going to take me to the beta version. You'll notice my screen here looks basically the same. Nothing changes here. But when I go back into that name tag project, I have a couple of extra options up here next to the blocks section. I can toggle between the blocks, or I can click on this little drop-down menu and choose JavaScript or Python, right? So if I want to see something in JavaScript, I can look at it. I can click on the drop-down menu, and now I have access to that in Python as well. And then the nice thing is if you're inside of the text-based coding, you can type in your text. If you kind of want to see what that's going to look like, you can toggle it back to the blocks. And if you made an error in writing your Python or your JavaScript text, you'll actually get an error block that shows up when you look at it in the blocks. But the other way that you can add code is if I click on Python, for example, I can go back to one of my categories over here where I found my blocks initially. If I click on input, for example, now it's going to give me some descriptions of what this would do inside of MakeCode. So if I want to run code on a button press, all I have to do is drag this block out, add it to the end of my code, and then it's going to create a new line, and it's going to write that for me inside of Python. Right, we'll do that same thing for you inside of JavaScript as well. But again, this is just another way to use this same MakeCode editor, but toggle back and forth between using the blocks, which are a little bit more on the simple side, to some more in-depth things with Python and JavaScript. Right, so that's the MakeCode beta version. And again, this just launched yesterday. It's going to become the full MakeCode editor sometime later this year, where Python will officially have been added. All right, but now I want to show you how you can add an assignment using MakeCode into Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to open a new window, and I'm going to go into my Microsoft Teams. I'm going to use this class right here, Jason's practice class on the general channel. I have the assignments tab at the top. Any team that's created as a classroom team will have that assignments tab. So I can click on assignments. I'm going to create a new assignment, and I'm going to choose assignment. And then from here, you would title the assignment. You can enter any kind of instructions to this. You can set up the point value, add rubrics, change who you are giving this assignment to. But the nice MakeCode option comes right here in the add resources. So underneath the instructions option, I have a little paperclip that says add resources. If I click on that, in the pop-up window on the left side of your screen, you now have an option that says MakeCode, right? This became available to the K-12 Office 365 tenant on Wednesday. So this is pretty new. So if I want to add a MakeCode project to this assignment, I would just click on MakeCode. And then I would choose the device that I want to use. In this case, I'm going to use the MicroBit. Unfortunately, this won't give us into Minecraft right now. But again, it is a way to get into some coding using MakeCode. I'm going to click on MicroBit. I would just title my project and then click attach. And then now it's going to add MakeCode to this assignment. The default is students will edit their own copy. Now, if I click on those three dots, I don't have the option to change that any further. But whenever I add MakeCode, it's going to allow students to edit their own MakeCode. So unfortunately, I can't add my own code and give it to my students and for like a debugging exercise this way. I could do that if I would publish my code and then get that URL link and then add a resource and then add a web link. I could give them my code that they can work from, but this is going to have them start from a blank MakeCode screen, right? And then I can go in and finish the assignment, but I'm going to discard this one. I'm going to show you an assignment that I have already created. So I'm going to go to the student side of things. So I'm going to open up another Teams window. This will be the student view. So I have a student that's part of Jason's practice team. So if they want to see what this assignment is going to look like on their end, I have this name tag assignment that I created earlier. So if I would click on this assignment, it's going to open up and it's going to have whatever instructions that I provided, the point value, the due date, and then it's going to give me that name tag project. So if I'm the student and I want to work on this, I would just click on the project. Now it's going to open MakeCode inside of Microsoft Teams for me. So now I have the full capabilities of the full MakeCode program all inside of Teams, right? So now I can use all of those blocks. I still have access to the simulator so I can see what my code is going to look like. I still have the download button if I want to download this to my physical MicroBit and play with it that way. I don't have that save icon anymore. As the teacher, when I gave this assignment, I told you what it was going to be named. It was going to be called name tag. But once the student is finished with their code, they would just simply click close. And then on their screen, if they're doing this for the first time, it's going to have a button that says turn in. This student's already turned in this assignment, so it says turn in again. But they would click on that turn in button, and that assignment's going to be turned into the teacher. So let me go back to the teacher side. I can show you what that looks like on the teacher side. So I'm going to discard this project. I don't want to have that. So inside of my version of Teams, I've already graded this assignment, so it's going to live under the graded section, but here it is. This is the name tag assignment that I created attaching the MakeCode project to it. So if I click on that, graded is where I'll find my student. I can see that this student has turned it in. I've already graded it. But if I want to see their work, all I have to do is click on that student. Now it's going to open up their project for me. So I can see the code that the student wrote, and I can see the simulator, so I can see how it works. I don't have the ability to change or modify any of their code. I don't have any of the controls or the blocks, but I can see what their code is. I can see how it works on the simulator. And then I also have the download button. So if I want to put this onto my own MicroBit, I can do that as well. So now I take the student's code, put it onto my MicroBit, and then test it that way. And then from here, I can enter some feedback. I can give it a point value, and I can return it. Right? So that's one option of how you can give assignments or monitor student progress inside of MakeCode. And this is going to be a nice way to do this all inside of Teams. Again, you can do this by inside of the code, clicking on publish and getting that web address. But this is a nice way to keep everything in one specific place. The other option I have for kind of monitoring some of the student progress is I can go to the MicroBit site. MicroBit has a classroom version that's also in beta. It's almost complete and ready to go to a full version, but you can access it right now and use it. So I'm going to open up another tab right here. And I'm just going to go to the MicroBit website, which is just microbit.org. Right, so if I go to microbit.org, this will take me to the official MicroBit website. If I scroll down to the middle of the screen, I have this MicroBit classroom option. Right, so this will allow me to create a classroom setting to use MicroBit or MakeCode with my students. So if I click on Visit MicroBit Classroom, now I would set up my classroom. I don't need to create an account for this. My students don't need to have an account. I do this all kind of on the fly right from here. So I'm going to give my activity a name. So this is going to be the practice activity. I would choose my programming language so I can use MakeCode. If I choose Python, it's actually going to send me to a separate Python editor that's available for the MicroBit. But I want to use MakeCode. So I'm going to click MakeCode. I can use temporary local storage or not. I'm going to leave that checked because that gives us one other option a little bit later on. If I scroll down the page a little bit further, I can find some lessons that MicroBit has put together that use MakeCode, or some other projects that you can do that come straight from MicroBit that you can use with MakeCode again. But if I have my activity named, I'm going to use MakeCode. All I have to do is click Launch Classroom, and now it's going to take me to my classroom page. Up in the top of the screen, I have the tabs that I can navigate through. The default is always going to be the instruction tab, so it's going to tell me how I can get set up to bring my students into this classroom. And it's pretty easy. All I have to do is click on Dashboard, and now I provide these instructions for my students. Right? So if you're at your computer, you can do this too if you want to enjoy my classroom. But all you do is open up a web browser and you go to microbit.org/join. Then you would type in, or you would use these symbols for the classroom name: purple, bear, bicycle, or piano. I'm doing this on another screen so I can have an example of a student that's in here as well. So purple, bear, bicycle, and piano. And I can see Kelly's already joined into this. And then enter the PIN number, 813935. I'm going to join it as well. And then once you click to join it, we'll ask you to put in your name. And then now I have joined as well. So there's 2 students that are inside of my classroom. So now there's a few things that I can do with this. The first is I can go back to this editor tab at the top. If I click on editor, now this is the teacher's editor. So again, this is a full version of MakeCode inside of the MicroBit classroom where I can write my own code. So if I want to do a project, I can do this right here and my students can follow along on their own screens, or I could put in some code that I've created and I can share this with my students. One thing that I want to point out here is if you're in this version and you share the code with your students, if your students already had code written, it's going to erase whatever they had and it will replace their code with what you share. But this would be an easy way that if you have a debugging assignment where you built a bunch of code that has a mistake in it somewhere, you want the students to be able to find out what the problem is and fix the code. I can push out lots of code that way without having to have the students create it or figure out a way to do copy and paste, things like that. Right? But this is the teacher editor. Dashboard I showed you, again, this is how students can join, and Jess is in here as well, so thanks a lot for joining. And then I can actually expand or make those go away. So if I have a bunch of students in here, I can see who is working in my classroom. And then I can also look at the student code. So I have the student code section. So I can take a look at the student code. So if I've got Kelly clicked on right now, now I see the code that Kelly is working on. So if Kelly adds some code, this is going to show up for me relatively quickly. It might be a few seconds delayed, but this is going to be almost a live look into what Kelly is doing on his computer. So I can follow along and watch what code he has in. Jason, I can see, well, he's kind of slacking. He hasn't done anything yet. Oh, Jess needs to get going. I can go back to Kelly. I can see all of his changes. But this is a great way for me to monitor what my students are doing inside of the classroom. Okay? So as the students add code, I can see that live. And then from here, I can also share my code with the students. But again, if I click on that, it's going to actually erase whatever code the students have made available for me. The other nice part about this is I have 3 students in here working. They're all adding code. Now, if I want to keep a record of what they're doing, I can actually download this report as a Word document. So if I click on download, we're in the end of our classroom session. I want to see what progress the students made during the time that they were inside of here coding. I can click on this and it's going to download a Word document for me. And then I can open the Word document. And it will actually create one page for each person that's in the class. So here's the Word document, right? This is the teacher. So if I had code, I can see what my code was. I can see Jason didn't do anything in our session today. But I can also scroll down and I can see Kelly. I can see what he did. So again, if I need to keep a record, if I want to be able to grade this later on and see what kind of code they came up with, right? This is a great way to export that so I can look at it later. The other nice part about this is that if I'm doing this in a classroom session and we didn't finish today, I can actually save this and come back later. So I have the Save Classroom option. So if I click on Save Classroom, I can download a classroom file. So this is actually going to download an HTML file that's going to be a link to get me back into this same classroom. So once I end the session, if class comes back tomorrow and I need everybody to pick up where they left off, I would just open that web link. It's going to take me back to this dashboard, or excuse me, this dashboard. It's going to give me a new classroom name and a new PIN number for the class. Once the students enter that in, they can find their names in a drop-down list. They can click their name and they can get back to the code that they were working on today. Right? So there's always a way to get back into this. One thing that I do want to point out on the student side, so here is an example of the student window, right? They just get the MakeCode editor where I can go between blocks and JavaScript. This is the full MakeCode. There's the I've finished button up here. If the student clicks I've finished, that means they're done with the project, and it basically locks them out of their code so they can't come back. But it's an easy way for you to figure out who is and who isn't done. So I'm going to click on I've finished. I didn't get this at all, so I'm going to click on the little cry face. And that's going to end my session. So now if I would come back and look at my student code, I can see Kelly is finished. He felt really good about it. Jason finished. Didn't feel so good about his. All right, but now that code that Kelly finished, right, this is going to be code that's locked in. It's set. He can't go back in and make changes to it later. But again, this is directly from MicroBit Classroom. This is in a beta version. This is getting ready to roll out into a full version. Really, the only thing that's left in their beta test is to find out what other features people would like to add. Right, but I think this would be a great way to use MakeCode, maybe with some younger students. You can kind of closely monitor and watch what they're doing. If you have some older students, maybe using something through Microsoft Teams would be better. But those are just a couple of different ways that you can bring that into a classroom setting. All right, that kind of brings us to the end of the time that we have available today. If you guys have questions, please feel free to add them into the chat. I guess now that I said that, there is one other thing I want to show you. One other place that you can go to get some MicroBit resources, or excuse me, some MakeCode resources. I'm going to open up another tab and go to the website NICERC.org. NICERC is the National Integrated Cyber Education Research Center. They have curricula that's available for teachers. It's all free. If you go to their homepage, NICERC.org, and you click on curricula, you can see all of the things that they have available. All right, they've got a bunch of different classes starting with STEAM fundamentals, which is elementary grades, all the way up to some computer science, physics, crypto, math, which is high-level high school stuff. But they do have one course called Cyber Fundamentals that focuses specifically on the MicroBit, but it does have MakeCode included with it. Right, so if you want to get access to the NICERC curriculum, if you hover over curricula on their homepage and click on curricula access, you can fill out some information. And again, this is free to all teachers. They just want to know, what school district you're a part of for their organizational purposes. NICERC is funded entirely through grant money from the Department of Homeland Security. So they just need to keep track of who's accessing their curriculum. But it's free. Again, all you have to do is register, and they'll give you access to everything that they have available. If you want to take a look at it, I will show you that very quickly. Right, they use Canvas as their platform. Once you sign up, you'll get a username and password. You actually pick that in the sign-up sheet. But if I click log in, I can find the Cyber Fundamentals course. And inside Cyber Fundamentals, they do have a section, MicroBit with MakeCode. Right, so if I click on that, I can get access to some of the lessons that they have built using MakeCode with the MicroBit. These lessons, the master notes, are just going to give me kind of some work throughs on what I need to do. They do have a few worksheets that go along with it. They also have PowerPoints that are available. So if you click on the resources tab, you can find the PowerPoint that goes along with their MakeCode presentation. And then they also have some demos that they'll walk you through. These would be the projects that you would walk through if you're attending an in-person training with NICERC. But again, you can walk through some of the MakeCode resources that they have available for you that way as well. Again, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask them inside of the chat. We're also to the end of our time, so if you have a question, you can feel free to unmute your microphone and just ask away. But if you have any questions or you need help in the future, you can reach out to us at help@k12.nd.us. And then I've also included this MakeCode website here. Again, makecode.com, makecode.org. Both of those will redirect you back to the MakeCode webpage. All right, thank you for joining us today. Kelly and I will stay on for a few minutes if you have some other questions. But if not, enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a good weekend and a good rest of the school year.